This is Pradeep from Sydney. It is a cold, wintry night in Sydney. The temperature is expected to be 8 degrees centigrade, although the winter officially starts on 1st of June. But at the same time, the temperature is very hot in Australia at the moment because we just had our federal elections today. And the income or incumbent government has lost. So we are going to see Labour come into power with Anthony Albanese as the new prime minister, although the counting is still going on. But yeah, I am very much in a hot and cold environment at the moment.
Hmm.
Now, whom do I have at GCC 29? We have some absolutely fabulous, uh, not only themes, speakers, and content, but we've got an absolutely fabulous panel. And what is this panel? The panel actually started from the last GCC session, whereby I'm now inviting three leaders from different parts of the world to give their perspectives on the themes that we discussed at the GCC session. So let me introduce the five people who are speaking and are part of the panel today. Being the gentleman that I am, I will be starting with the lady of the day, and she is Bharti Singla. 2016 BTech from IIT Delhi, and she is making waves as an entrepreneur in environmental science, leveraging technology for environmental solutions. There are some very interesting work that she has done. I actually found it very impressive for two reasons: that so early in her life she has taken on an entrepreneurial journey, and also to be commended is that as a female she's taken on an entrepreneurial journey. And I will also be including her into another initiatives discussion where we talk about women and we talk about sustainability also. um, but what is the name of her company? The company is called Chakra. And what is she doing? Well, please wait for the session and then we will tell you what she is doing. So, Bharti, if you can just raise your hand and wave at everybody, at least we are real people. Maybe next time there will be avatars. So, from there onwards, we move across to Manish. That is from Delhi. Bharti is based in Delhi, but at the moment in Pune, and then we go across to Bangalore. And whom do we meet in Bangalore? We meet a gentleman by the name of Manish Gupta, an IIT Delhi alumni who has a very interesting background. He's been in all kinds of things, including financial services. And question that I'm going to be asking him: what is he doing with this interactive TVs? And what is this interactive TV anyway? So Manish, if you want to raise your hand and say hi to everybody. And then who are the leaders who are going to be on the panel today? First and foremost, let's go across to Africa. And from Africa, we have Neeraj. Neeraj is COO of a FMCG company based in Zambia, but he is also a global executive member of GCC. So Neeraj is very much a colleague, and jointly Neeraj and the other two people over here, we have been working in building up this platform called GCC. And Neeraj, if you want to raise your hand and say hi to everybody. मनीष तुमको नहीं बोला, मैंने नीरज को बोला था. अच्छा.
I was
Hi.
just saying hi to Neeraj.
Love it. So from Zambia we go to London, and from London we have our own Guruji, Shri Vijay Kumar, who is an IIT Delhi alumni, but making waves in health and well-being, in spiritualism, as well as in yoga. And more about Vijay later on. And from London, we move across to Boston in the US, and where we have Sunil Mishra, who is the CEO of a digital transformation company called MTech. and MTech has a significant base in India also. And both Vijay as well as Sunil are also my colleagues, along with Neeraj, as at GCC, and all of us have been, along with some other colleagues, have been working to create this platform, enabling alumni from all over the world to connect with each other. So let's kickstart the session with Bharti. And the first part of the session discussion with her is, Bharti, could you tell us what was the Eureka movement after you finished IIT Delhi? Uh, could you please tell us about what was the Eureka movement after IIT Delhi, which made you become an entrepreneur in environment? Was it by accident? Was it by design? And what exactly happened?
Sure. Thank you, Pradeep, and hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be connected and to meet all of you. It's the first time for me. Um, so, to answer your question, Pradeep, to be very frank, there was actually no Eureka movement because I always wanted to work in the environment space. So, I come from a small town in Himachal, and growing up there, I had grown up very close to the nature, looking at blue skies, clean air at all times. When I had to move out of my hometown for my education, first to Chandigarh and then to Delhi, I realized that the environment was not the same across all places. And as I was studying to be a chemical engineer, I had sort of resolved that while as chemical engineers or as engineers in general, we have created a part of the problem of pollution, but we're also going to be responsible for the solution. And therefore, my entire journey at IIT was targeted towards finally working in the environment space. Uh, the bug of entrepreneurship honestly had not caught on to me at that stage. So that happened after I joined Fortune Consulting Group, worked on a couple of cases there, and then I realized that I would want to work on something of my own. This was also the time when people were finally becoming aware of the problem of air pollution. WHO had released some reports which kind of opened the eyes for everyone to realize that we needed a solution. And that's when I met a couple of other, some juniors and seniors from IIT Delhi, and we came together to solve this problem of pollution. So we, as Chakra, we manufacture systems to reduce emissions from diesel engines. We are able to reduce the particulate matter emissions by about 80% and other harmful gases by, again, approximately 80 to 90%. We have
So
over the last 5 years.
before I go across to what you are doing, so I wanted to ask you that the zillions of dollars that BCG was paying you and the BCG brand was enough not to hold you back from starting your entrepreneurial journey?
I mean, I would say I left at the right time. So I left while I was only there for about 1.5 years. So I did not get used to that lifestyle. And hence I was able to kind of say that, maybe later and I can take a plunge into the entrepreneurial journey at that
Love
stage.
it, love it, love it. Now tell me, what exactly, you mentioned that you got something for addressing the pollutions or, from the diesel. What
Mhm.
is it? Is it something that you attach to the exhaust of a truck or a car or something like that? What is it?
Yes, absolutely. So it's a retrofit solution. So one of the things we realized was that the world is definitely moving to better engines, right? Better engines, and then eventually also to EVs. And there is a huge electrification based on renewables, which is happening. But that is not enough because every year, you only have about 5 to 10% new cars or new engines coming in, but the ones that remain still continue to pollute. And we felt that to stop the emissions and to stop pollution, you needed to stop the pollution at source. And therefore, it's a retrofit solution. So it can fit on any type of engine and it reduces 70 to 90% of whatever pollution is coming out of that engine.
So that's fabulous. So what is the cost of this retrofit solution?
So it varies depending on the engine size. We make it for from the smallest engine starting all the way up to large engines used in the industries, it will be approximately 10 to 15% of the base engine's cost for the end user.
So I love it the way you've given me an answer, but not given me the answer. Hmm. So, but the question is that what kind of a cost are we looking at? Say, 100,000 rupees or 1 rupee ballpark. I'm not looking for the
Sure,
exact.
sure. See, if you talk about, say, a household application, it will be around 50,000 rupees. If you talk about, say, a large industrial plant, it can range up to 30 lakhs as well.
Oh, I forgot that. Yes, there are industrial applications also. I don't know why I was looking only at the consumer market. No, fabulous. So, and do you have any competitors for the kind of solution that you're offering?
So currently in India, there are no direct competitors. Obviously, across the world, people have made a lot of technologies to reduce PM emissions, and those technologies exist. But for the specific application and for the for the kind of cost that we are able to sell at, currently we don't have any direct competition. Indirectly, there is competition in terms of other fuels, electrification, etc.
Yes, understand. So, how long do you think you will have the first mover advantage?
Well, not long, Pradeep, because recently the Indian government has come up with a national regulation to reduce emissions, and they've mandated the use of retrofit technologies. Now, they've given certain time for people to get their certification and to put this in place. And we believe that has kind of made this market quite stable now. So while we were there when there was no regulation, now there is regulation. And we do see that competition will come in. And I think it's important for business to have competition because that validates that you're doing the right thing.
Love it. So the regulation is both an opportunity and a challenge, you see, because opportunity because it makes it mandatory and thereby it enhances the market size. And it's a challenge, yes, it'll be, but then yes, so well, Bharti is prepared for that. So now, obviously, I remember that when I had Sumant on this platform a couple of weeks back, and we were discussing about hydrogen and the implications of hydrogen and how he was talking about that there are so many opportunities in the sustainability field that it's really becoming a question of looking at where to go. Do you also see the same situation as far as you are concerned?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that the difficulty is in terms of where to go. I think as a company, we are quite keen on just finding wherever we can create an impact. So we started with this one product. We are now looking at a few more product lines, energy storage space, some of them in the energy efficiency space. So, all of that is still in the R&D stage. We haven't yet commercially launched. But we feel that, in this journey that humanity in a way has to travel, where we need to change our way of doing business, where we need to actually ensure that we are doing this in a sustainable way. Every bit counts, right? So we just need to find that one opportunity where we can create an impact. I'm sure the problem would be like slightly different for Renew because they're such a large
But this
organization.
is so nice. You see, what I love is that, even at such a young age, you have that passion for making a difference, for creating an impact in whatever you're doing. It's not something that we are leaving for our kids and grandkids to kind of work out, because this is sustainability and climate is an issue which is hitting us now. I mean, I was
Right.
shocked to hear that in Delhi the temperatures have gone up to 50 degrees this year, in Delhi, and we are in the month of May. It's not even June at the moment.
Yeah.
So we can see, sustainability and climate hitting us very close to, where we live. Now, you mentioned about R&D. So what, you got your own R&D lab, or are you kind of working with IITs, or how where do you get the technology from?
So we do have our own team. So we have a small manufacturing and engineering unit in Pune, where we have our R&D setup and labs and our team which does the R&D. Along with that, we're also collaborating with educational institutes. So while our team is equipped to do testing and product development, but some of the basic research inputs we've been getting. So we've incubated at FITT, our incubator at IIT Delhi. So we do get a lot of support and help from the professors at IIT whenever we are stuck. Secondly, we're also working with NCL, National Chemical Laboratories here in Pune. So there are things around catalysts, etc., that they help us with. So there is kind of an ecosystem that is enabling us to do the R&D.
So IIT Delhi has also, built up another incubation center as the Atal Incubation Center at Sonipat at the Education City. So are you involved with that or with the FITT in Hauskas?
So we are involved with FITT, which is on the campus, not the Sonipat one yet.
Okay, so I had Alok, who's taken over as the CEO of the Sonipat Atal Incubation Center. He reached out to me, and we'll be having in on one of our future sessions. So great to know that, and also we are also creating a community in sustainability, and there are quite a few of our alumni who are at IIM, Seymour, and other institutes, etc. I'll connect you with those because I think you are doing some great work, and it'll be great to create that community. Now, you see, one of the things that I've always been, very passionate about is getting the collaboration between industry, academia, and the startup ecosystem, which means that industry, academia are collaborating, and there is research commercialization which is happening by way of transfer of technology to startups. Now, do you come across any such things happening in your business?
So actually, Pradeep, not directly right now, but last year during the COVID-19 technology for the reuse of N95 masks. So this was a very short-lived product that we built, and the idea was, just to contribute to the fight against pollution. In fact, we did that completely because of the support we got from IIT Delhi and also some of the IIT alums who were helping us put it together. So there we felt that, we had developed the technology, deployed it at certain locations, but we did not have the capability to participate in the medtech space since our core capabilities were more clean tech space. But this tech was ready. And we actually wanted to license it out to large companies, but we were not able to, unfortunately, find the right platform where we could take this. So, since we were doing this in a very short period of time. So I do believe that there is a need for such a platform, but we've not been able to come across something like that, and which could work both ways, right? Licensing it to the startups, but also startups licensing it to someone else because that's not our core expertise.
But it is so nice to hear that you actually looked at a tactical challenge, which was there during the COVID times, went into N95, and then, tried your best to kind of make it available as much as possible. Fabulous. Now, do you have anything that you would like to show us through a video or something like that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I have a short video where I can demonstrate just a little bit about the product and how it works.
Yes.
I'm going to try and maybe share my screen.
Please. And the panel members, be ready for the rapid fire with Bharti.
Okay, perfect. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is very much.
Okay, great. Yes. So I'm just going to show you a video of an installation that we had actually done with Indian Army. And this installation is in Leh in December. So the temperatures outside were minus 18 degrees Celsius. So they wanted to check if this would work in harsh conditions or not. So if you can see the bottom green part, that's the diesel generator. And the left sort of cylindrical thing is the silencer where normally the exhaust from the diesel generator would come out from. And this is our device. So I'll just play the video for you to see. Right now our device is running. You cannot see any smoke. But
as you can see at this very moment, the Chakra Shield 2.0 is operational and there is no smoke coming out of the Chakra Shield. Now we are shifting to the silencer and we will note the visible difference.
So this person is just changing the wheel to shift the smoke to the silencer. And you'll actually start seeing the smoke now.
Oh, yes.
So he's just completely turning it. So
now you can see the smoke coming out of the silencer.
So in a way, all of this smoke disappeared, and the defense sector actually has a very good application for this, not just from a pollution control point of view, but also from detectability, because the smoke will not be visible.
And that is so nice. And you're also doing something on battery storage or energy storage, And what exactly is that?
So that's something that we started working on about 2.5 years ago. Again, we felt that eventually the world is going to move away from diesel, right? And while this solution is needed today, but say 5 years from now, we are going to need a different kind of solution. So that's again a novel battery system that we have developed. It's still in the R&D phase, so we haven't yet commercially launched it. But it is going to be an aluminium-based energy storage system that will use aluminium, which is quite an abundant metal, to store energy and then use it across both stationary and mobile applications as a replacement to diesel generators as well as a replacement for IC engines in vehicles. And that also kind of reduces our dependence on lithium ion. Lithium ion can then focus on other applications. So that's something that is again still in R&D stage. Will soon launch.
Fabulous. And I may also mention to you that another of our alumni who's based in California, his name is Abe Oswal. And I think he's also in the call today. He's doing a lot of work in energy storage, and he's got already built up links with IITs, number of IITs, and there's a lot of work. So as we create the community, we get more and more people focused onto the similar themes, and we look at both the demand, supply, industry, academia, and those kind of stuff. Now, moving across to the panel number one and to Neeraj. Neeraj, what questions would you like to ask Bharti? Do you see a market for this product in Africa? And
Yeah,
and over to you for your comments.
yeah. So I'll start. Bharti, basically, Africa can be a very big market for this. I'll give you some statistics of Nigeria. Almost 90% of business uses the diesel generator there. So if you see in terms of blackout, it's almost Nigeria have 33 blackouts in a month. So there is a lot of demand for the diesel generator. But what I see here, while hearing your cost, because see, cost is a big issue in Africa. Average, almost 60 to 70% of population on $2 per day kind of salary. So for them, do you have like some low cost solution, or because when you are speaking about 15% of total diesel generator value, it's I think too high. So you have some ready-made small, some good solution for them, especially who can cater to this category?
So Neeraj, currently our cost is based on the system that is designed for the Indian regulation, which requires the emissions to be reduced by minimum 70%. Now that's how it is currently sort of structured, and it's also that we haven't reached that scale. We started about 5 years ago. We are still growing. If we were to say come to Africa and cater to that pollution, now we can do two things. One, we can come up with a solution that has slightly lower efficiency. Not maybe 80%, but maybe say 30-40% will still reduce some pollution, but will be less expensive. Second, obviously, as we reach economies of scale, we will be able to bring our costs down, our sourcing will become more effective, our production will become more effective, and that effect will also come into place, which hasn't yet kicked in.
Sure. And one more question. See, I'm in Zambia, and I've noticed, the major issue here with the diesel is high sulfur content. So, so do you have any device which identify, high sulfur content? So maybe in that perspective, it will be quite effective especially for the African population.
Yeah. So currently we don't have that device, but I'm sure we will be able to figure it out. If there's an application, we can develop something like this, either to detect or to control the sulfur emissions.
And it's a big market. I'm telling you about it. This is a very big market. Africa, diesel generator is a big thing. Pollution can be a very big thing. So if you offer a right price, you can, take off in Africa.
Fabulous.
Definitely. I was just curious to know, if I could just find out, what do you think is the reason for this? Like, are they not able to supply electricity by grid, or is there some other kind of challenge?
See, for Zambia, I'll give you total power generation in Zambia is around 6,000 megawatt, which is enough for an 80 million population. But see, there is a lot of, during the import, there is a lot of Indian players and a lot of, so there is always, sometimes people bypass the system. So the right quality of diesel doesn't come. And refinery also have a capacity. So whatever the demands, for example, they have almost 40% of the diesel need to be imported. So when they import 40% of diesel, then there is a chances whatever, the impurities can be there. So one is that. And second, definitely, obviously, power generation capacity, the capital expenditure is not like as in India. So that is also a second reason.
So good, so good. Lovely discussion. So let's go across from Zambia to London. And Vijay, are you in London or are you in Goa at the moment? See, the beauty about Vijay is that when it becomes very cold in London, he just moves his base to Goa and he conducts his yoga classes from Goa. So Vijay, are you there? We can't hear you.
Vijay sir, you are on mute.
Sorry. Yes, I'm there. And I'm in Goa actually. Yes. Last year I was in Gran Canaria the whole winter period. And this year, luckily, I decided after a long gap, almost 3 decades. So I spent almost like 6 months and moving next week on Tuesday morning to London back. And I can tell you that what Neeraj was telling about the electricity problem in Zambia, I am also shocked that a state like Goa, which is quite prosperous actually, and I cannot tell you that electric cuts are so often and so means it's unbelievable. Roads are bad, electricity is bad, and it is full of like rich tourist people. So I think this inclusive growth needs really serious attention, that the benefits of growth and progress is not being reflected in the infrastructure which is available, even in states like Goa, which are very rich. So I think that...
So one of the questions which was coming to my mind is that from a health perspective, and this is to Bharti as well as to Vijay. Bharti, what do you see as the impact that if such high levels of pollution was continuing without the devices like what you are supplying, what would be the impact on health?
Sure. So Pradeep, there are studies which estimate that if there is a diesel generator running in an area, even if the diesel generator is running for about 1 to 2 hours a day, the chances of people in that area being susceptible to cancer goes up by about 20-30%. So there is a huge impact. And diesel particles that come out of the diesel generators or diesel engines are actually very fine. So they are so fine that they don't get filtered by our lungs. They actually enter directly into and can cause a lot of cardiovascular diseases and cancers. So, apart from the respiratory issues that most PM in the air would cause, diesel exhaust in particular is even worse. So the health impact, I mean, there are a lot of studies which have estimated this, but this is just one fact.
But really what you are saying is that, or what the studies are indicating is that there is quite a severe impact. I mean, I know that, it is bad for health, but I never realized that it is so bad, And Vijay, from your perspective, when you conduct your yoga classes, let's say, I thought that Goa is a very clean place. I mean, the environment is quite clean. What is the situation in Goa?
Yes, environment is not bad. The climate is also very good in winter time. And in COVID time, actually, I did a research work that people were having a lot of breathing troubles without pollution and without environmental issues. And what I noticed was it doesn't matter where I am, there's a specific period of time in the morning between 4 o'clock to 8 a.m. The air is purest and fresh. And if people, I have advised a lot of people to do some pranayama practices, and that half an hour or 1 hour of breathing techniques can really be very effective tool. Despite living in a very polluted area like Delhi is full of pollution. I just stayed for 2 days before coming to Goa, and I could not be any more there. So I almost had no choice, but Goa was the final choice to live.
So,
Yes.
you know, for the kind of exercises that you are talking about, one has to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But
No,
what
no,
about
no.
somebody? No, but what
No.
about somebody like me who sleeps only at 5 o'clock in the morning?
No. You don't need to get up at 4 o'clock. What I suggest is the sunrise is the best time. So if you adjust your biological clock to the nature clock, like what I do in Goa is that I am living at a very nice place, which has a 10-minute walk to mountain and 10-minute walk to the sea beach. So I have adjusted my clock. Morning 6 to 7, I am jogging and climbing the mountain and doing my practice directly when the sun is shining, sun is rising. And same way in the evening, when the sunset is there between 6 and 7, I'm walking in the beach, seaside, barefoot, enjoying the sunset and enjoying the sea energy and the salt water. And I can tell you it's so refreshing. Just spending 2 hours properly aligning my biological clock to the nature clock keeps me well, means beyond words.
Vijay, you are giving me some lovely ideas because this is a subject by itself. Aligning your bio clock with the environmental clock, you know. But
That's very important. That's the
fabulous.
key.
Let me now move across to the third panel member, Sunil. Sunil, your chance for 2 minutes of fame.
So the first thing I would say is, Swamiji, we are not all as disciplined as you are, so we have to learn from you. You know, just like Pradeep, we are all IIT Fatrus and we don't go to sleep till 3 a.m. But a couple of quick thoughts, right? First is, as Pradeep and some of us are of an older generation, and we always worry about where the younger generation is going, right? And I'm so impressed, Bharti. I mean, this is, I'm phenomenally impressed with what, your mind, your attitude and what you're doing and your mindset. I think the future of the country and the future of the world is safe if you have more folks like Bharti, right? Having said that, I think there are a couple of questions, right? In terms of the technology itself, right? Is it only specific to diesel? Or eventually can be applied to the bigger problem in the world right now, which would be gasoline-powered cars, right? It'd be interesting to see if you can, adopt and adapt that to other forms of the problems. And maybe, and I don't know enough about the chemistry to say if it's easy or not. But be curious about your thoughts about expanding it. But on the flip side, as a business guy, I would say that you need to keep your focus, right? So you can't be all things to all people. So you got to find the right balance. So just a quick question for you.
Right. So thank you so much for your kind words. So very relevant question, which we have also been thinking about. We started with a focus on diesel because we felt that's where we can create the greatest impact. We also feel that gasoline will have a faster transition towards EVs because gasoline-driven cars are generally more expensive. So they are going to eventually or more quickly convert to EVs as compared to diesel vehicles, and hence diesel vehicles kind of became our focus. And it's instead of going towards gasoline, we kind of went towards say batteries, as our long-term bet. But I do agree with you that is also one problem we could look at solving. Once we have our hands a little free, we'll definitely explore that.
Now, and again, just keeping focus is very important in any startup, right? It's you can confuse yourself by trying to do too many things. But having said that, as Pradeep mentioned, it would be good if we can connect you with some of our other friends and colleagues who are sort of playing in the same space, right? There may be some give and take and collaboration that might come about, right? So happy to do that in any and help in any way we can.
And that is exactly what Sunil mentioned is one of the objectives of GCC that I see is that we create that platform and an ecosystem. We've got 55,000 alumni all over the world. Now, Bharti, it's been absolutely fabulous to talk to you. How many people do you employ in the company?
So we're a team of about 85 people right now, and we'll get to about 100 in the next 3 months. So we've just closed our fundraise and we were hiring aggressively. So we'll get to about 100 in 3 months.
So my question is that you are so soft-spoken. So do you have to kind of say, I am the boss, and then they listen to you, or how does it happen?
Really, Pradeep. So what has happened is that my team makes me do all the work. Like I think I work for them. I don't have to tell anyone to do any work. They do all the work, and then in turn make me work. So that's the way it has been.
So sweet, so sweet.
The era of the I'm the boss is over.
Is all out gone. I know. Absolutely.
We need to be servant leaders, right? So, I mean, she's exactly right. We work for them, right?
Bharti,
without them, nothing happens. Right?
Quick one. What's the valuation you got? I'm quite interested. I'm a financial guy also. So I just wanted to
Yes, by the way, he's a CFA.
Oh, okay. So the valuation kind of is, it's like a mixture because it's not a fixed round that we did. So it was kind of it's linked to some variables. But based on the variables, we land up anywhere between 130 to 200 CR.
Oh.
Wow. Oh, amazing.
Still less, but yeah.
Fabulous.
I can tell you my experience, Pradeep, that when I started 2 decades back, Indian Wellness Academy and recently Shivam Institute, we actually do a lot of trainings like holistic health healers and workshops and retreats. And for sure, for first 5 years, I used to work a lot. But now it's like almost like 15 years. I just guide. I have a team of 100 plus volunteers all over Europe, UK, and a big team of already trained by us. So like I'm just enjoying life and like a sort of semi-retired situation. And I don't work much these days.
That is so nice. When I see your photographs, on LinkedIn and Facebook, I sometimes really commend, I said, what a lovely work, Vijay is doing. So nice, so nice. So look, Bharti, going back to you, thank you so much for coming over and a big round of applause for Bharti for what she's been doing and what she's been leading. And we look forward to getting you more involved in the ecosystem that we are trying to build because I think this is exactly what it is about. So we'll be in touch and take care and have a lovely day.
Thank you so much for having me and for all the questions. Looking forward.
So sweet, so sweet. Let's move on to the next person. And you see, I remember, I'm talking of 1977 when I finished my BTech. We used to have a black and white TV. I don't even know whether color TV had come out by then or not. It used to be called a idiot box, because we had programs like Krishi Darshan and there used to be once in a while Chitrahar. And fast forward to 1991 when I moved across to Australia and I was still very active in the stock market and Z came up with an IPO. As an NRI, I was able to get an allocation of 1000 shares of Z at 30 rupees. Now that 30 rupees cost me 30,000 rupees. And I had moved to Australia, so I was more focused on, settling myself and making a career in Australia and investing in the Australian stock market. So I literally forgot about my Z stock. Apart from I had small quantities of other also, McDowell's and a couple of other stock companies like that. In 1999, just before Y2K, I was shocked. You know why? Because the 1000 shares they had issued, there was a stock split of 10 times, so I had 10,000 shares. Not only I had 10,000 shares, but the share of 30 rupee share had gone to 1,600. So my 30,000 rupees had become 1.6 crores. Now, the beauty of the whole thing is that I did not realize that India had already moved across to demat and I was still holding physical shares. So by the time I was able to get my shares demat, the stock market crashed. We had that the crash of 2001, and Z shares and my value of 1.6 crores dropped to 60 lakhs. But jokes apart, this is not a joke. This is a rare true story. But what I'm trying to say is that from that idiot box of the 70s, today when you look at it, there must be what 500 channels on the television, and we've got all this OTT, Netflix, and all this kind of a thing. But still, television remains what we call as a passive interaction. There is only one way. We only see content. We can't engage with it like the way we do with our mobile phones. And this is where I get or introduce Manish Gupta, who is Senior Vice President of a company called Glance TV. Glance TV is working on disrupting the TV experience. Now, how do they do? Before we go on to that, Manish, a big welcome to you. Tell me what happened. How did you land up into this interaction of TVs and all that? I thought you were into financial services. What has been your journey post IIT Delhi?
Thanks, Pradeep, and hi everyone. Thanks for kind of inviting me for this wonderful forum. So it's an interesting journey. After IIT, I did a little bit of civil engineering. So I was a civil engineer from IIT Delhi. And then basically I joined the first batch of ISP. So with Rajat as our benefactor, I know you had him in a couple of days back, and of course Pramath, who was the first dean. So it was that interesting moment from 2001 2, and of course that was also the time of the crash. So and the 9/11 and all that. So, but it was an interesting journey then. For the last after that, from 2002 to almost 2020, I was actually a banker, like a real type. I always wore a tie to office and been a very serious banker. But yeah, across various banks, and basically in my last role, I was heading the products for CIBIL. So your CIBIL score in India, if many people would know that. So it was built by my team. So it was interesting, but then there's so much happening in the startup space, and I always wanted to get into a startup. One of my very old friends, like one of my colleagues, actually was a co-founder of the first unicorn of India, which is InMobi. And so he was pressurizing me, what are you doing in the corporate world, financial world? Come here. And that's when I kind of shifted and I said, okay, it's a big leap of faith, leaving all my financial services background and kind of moving to a completely different field called AdTech and media and entertainment and all that. So it was a very big shift. Of course, a difficult decision, moved from Bombay to Bangalore, and so that's how I kind of shifted here. And because I thought I'll kind of do something which is very different, innovative, and that's where I kind of landed into the subsidiary called Glance, which is today a lock screen content provider. We were actually a mobile content provider for the last, and we today command about 80% of all the smartphones in the country. And they wanted to start a TV business. I said, okay, fine. I have no clue on TV. I have no clue on media. I have no clue on entertainment. So I didn't, okay, kind of let's try and jump into what we have to do. And so that's where I am right now. And we've launched recently. We are in about 300,000 TVs and trying to kind of develop the product, develop distribution, get content. So, but I'm like thoroughly enjoying this change. Very refreshing after really doing some serious stuff. So this is also serious, but more entertaining, I would say.
Fabulous. So tell me, the first mobile solution that you have been for the last couple of years, what exactly is that?
Yeah, so basically, Pradeep, we are, so today if you see a lock screen of any phone, right? Like if you have an Android phone or a iPhone, like it's very bland. So either you'll have your own picture there or it'll be blank. Right. So nobody has actually thought of kind of using that real estate to provide a lot of value to customers. It's a locked screen, right? So what we did was, I think 2017, actually 2000, mainly in 2019, is when we decided, okay, we kind of need to change this whole experience, and that's when we launched Glance. I think 2018 is when we launched. 2019 is when we expanded, and that was the first series that we did. And basically what we did was that we actually started giving very beautiful wallpapers, providing that across Samsung, across Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo, Motorola, everyone, right? So basically all the OEMs really liked this new experience. Basically then we kind of moved from a very beautiful wallpaper. We started providing a lot of content to from that wallpaper onto customers, and then basically at the and yeah, absolutely. So Aditya, that's what we transitioned to in 2020. We kind of moved from being just a wallpaper content provider to actually being an immersive video live interactive platform. So that's what we are today. We are across India and Indonesia. We are now about almost 200 million daily active users, available in almost 400 million devices. But yeah, so that's the journey that we had.
Fabulous.
And
so you have 80% market share in this business. Now and that's a pretty dominant market share. That's a understatement. But now I want to move across to the TV part.
Yeah.
Now, what is the new solution, that interactivity that you have, developed and already on a pilot launch?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Preet, let me rather not say anything. Let me first, if it's okay with you, if I can show a very small 1 or 2 minute video on what exactly we're trying to create. So if I can share my screen, just a second. Let me open this. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Second. Yeah. And share sound. Okay. Let me just share this. Is my screen visible?
Yep, it is.
Perfect. Okay, I'll have to just remove my. Sorry, just a second. Hello, am I still audible?
Yeah, you are audible. The play button is, yeah.
Sure.
Fabulous, Manish. There are three things that I could immediately pick about. One was that I could see comments coming over there. I could see emojis. The second was I could see a QR code. The third was I could also see collaboration happening over there. So to me, what it reminded me was that this is the mobile experience what we are kind of trying to get on a television. Would that be correct?
Yeah. So not kind of, but I wouldn't say 100% there because it's a TV first experience that we wanted to create for you. So basically a TV first social interactive live experience. And I still remember this picture, this image, which one of my team members actually brought out in one of the presentations, where basically a husband and wife are sitting together. The one of basically the children is all the children, three children sitting in that photograph. Somebody's on the mobile, somebody's on the laptop. Nobody is watching TV. And like you said, right, when we were kids, we all used to sit together and watch Chitrahar together. We had a black and white TV and we used to watch this together. It was a family time. It was a together time. But I think with the current experience of our current needs of all the Gen Zs, and I'm sure Bharti can vouch for this, is that there is a lot of need for being social, being connected, expressing your opinions, and so on and so forth, which today is not available on TV. In spite of the fact that there is so much of content available, but you can't react to it. So the reaction that you do is normally through WhatsApp. What we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of make that a two-way interactive experience. Getting together our own live shows where people can actually comment across various categories: news, sports, entertainment, lifestyle, and so on and so forth, and actually kind of disrupt the way people today watch TV. So you talked about the word idiot box, right? So our vision is actually to remove the word idiot box from somebody who actually watches TV, and of course somebody who should never be called a couch potato because he's very active, he's interacting, he's enjoying, and all of that. So basically that's what we wanted to do.
So, a couple of thoughts come to my mind. You see, one is that today metaverse is a very, very topical subject. Why topical? I mean, it has become so this thing that even cats and dogs want to know what a metaverse is. But is this like one step towards the metaverse journey?
Yeah, so you can think of this, Pradeep, and I still remember when we were trying to create a TV lab. Actually, I actually reached out to one of the VRARA members as well. I said one of the experiences that we want to give to people is to actually say what active content feels like, and that is when we bought an Oculus and when we put it in our lab. So any new employee who joins, any new member of the team who joins, and I tell them, said, first you play the Oculus, you see what active TV means, active interactivity TV means, and that's when you are inducted into the team. So he plays that, and, and I think that's the induction for his team to say, this is what our vision is, this is what we want to create. So it is a step towards metaverse. Yeah.
So, have you seen? Because this is the first time I'm seeing something like this. Is there anybody else offering this kind of a solution?
So not in the whole world, rather I would say, but like big companies, right? Netflix. So very recently, I think this is just day before yesterday, is when they said, okay, we want to actually introduce polls on reality shows. So I don't know if you've seen the watch party of Netflix, but these are steps towards kind of going to interactivity. I think people are realizing, a lot of companies are realizing that, but the way that we are trying to do this, we haven't seen a company across the world who's doing this.
And from a demographical perspective, is there any target segment? Is it the Gen Z or is it the baby boomers across the board?
Yeah, so basically our content will be applicable mainly for Gen Z. So what we want to do is we want to bring back the Gen Z onto TV and actually give them an experience which, so somebody, when we were doing user research, right, somebody said, wow, it's a big mobile phone, like you rightly said, right? But I think that's what we want to do across, but our product will soon be applicable across the various categories. There is always, I think everybody wants to express their opinions, everybody wants to react.
So this also is important because today, especially in markets like the US, where 50% of the kids below the age of 16 are on Roblox, which is
Yeah.
a gaming platform. And I don't think that they even go to the TV, or they must be thinking that what is this, what is this stuff called TV kind of thing. So how do you kind of compare, people who are onto Roblox, and how do you get them onto TV? I mean, when you're
Yeah.
looking at the same market.
So I think what we want to do, Pradeep, is that we want to make TV interactions very simple. If and the kind of content that we want to bring will be so applicable for them. So we are getting esports, which has never been done. So you can actually uh, play on the TV, and imagine you playing, and then your photograph actually coming on TV, or your play actually coming on TV, and not just being viewed by you, but viewed by all across the people who watch game streaming today on YouTube or Twitch. Uh, can they comment, and that comments effectively then reflect all across. So we believe that there is a lot of value that we can provide for Gen Z. And of course, yeah, that you're right. So it's a social Twitch. We can think about it, but much more broader applications and much more broader usage is what we are thinking of.
So I'll have a separate chat with you because VRARA is also having a Asia Pacific Summit on 14 July, and there are a couple of other forums, and I think it'll be good to present this over there. I'll have a chat with you over there.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of actual deployment of the solution, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Is it that you got a smart TV at your house, and what do you do? Like, how do you make this interaction happen?
Yeah. So basically, Pradeep, what we do is that our distribution actually happens through OEMs, very similar to what we do on the mobile phones. So basically, we go and it's a B2B2C solution. So we want to be available in every single launcher in the world. That's what our aim is. We want to change the experience of the people, and to do that, we believe that we need very deep integration with all our OEM partners, all the manufacturers of TVs, all the launcher manufacturers, all the smart STV boxes manufacturers, and or smart sticks manufacturers, for example. So basically, the way it's available today is we are available in one of the OEMs, and we are expanding to every single OEM, a large OEM that is there in this country, because all of them actually see a lot of value in changing this experience that they have of their launcher, and of course, in turn, have some kind of a monetization opportunity as well. But the whole thought process is that we will be available both as maybe as an app as well, but mainly through the OEM partnerships that we've cracked.
So, is it available only to new smart TV buyers, or is it available to existing smart TV buyers? And if it is, then what patch or app download, or what do they have to do?
Yeah, so it's so the launches gets updated every time. So it's what we call FOTA, and automatically your product gets updated. So for example, with one of our OEMs that we've launched, actually we've launched with on existing TVs, and basically it was an over-the-air update, and basically they got the glance experience, and they're enjoying the glance experience. So and that's what we will do across for new as well as old TVs.
Oh, fabulous! That gives you a massive market base in India alone. So at the moment, has it already been launched, or what is the story
We've,
over there?
we've launched it, Pradeep. So we are available in 300,000 odd TVs today in the country. Small base, but we want to kind of we'll hopefully soon be available in almost 50% of all the connected TVs that are there in this country. So
And I remember reading somewhere that you've got a collaboration or a tie-up with Geo also.
yeah. So this is actually interesting. So we're actually invested by as Glance, we are invested by both Google and Geo. So our
Oh.
Series B was a Google investment, and our Series C is actually with Geo. So, and both of them are very large players. So Google is a very large Android TV, Google TV, at least aspiration, and similarly, Geo has their own set-top box, which today has very large ambitions as well. So hopefully, we'll be available in both the platforms. So.
Hey, fabulous. Now let's go across for the rapid fire round, and let's start the other way around today. So it's over to you, Sunil. And you see, the question that I asked was actually quite relevant insofar as you are concerned, because you are based in Boston, in the U.S. And where I said, that the 50% of the world U.S. Population below the age of 16 is on Roblox. So how does that compare with this? But anyway, over to you for your questions.
Yeah, thanks, Pradeep, and thank you, Manish. That was very interesting. Yeah, I guess I have a whole bunch of questions, and maybe I'll ask just a couple of them, right? So the one thing is, if I look at the younger generation, the Gen Zs and the others, I mean, I have daughters that age. They look at the TV screen only as real estate, right? Their interaction, so the question is sort of, there has to be sort of a seamless interaction between the mobile device and the real estate on TV, right? And it has to be immersive enough in terms of being able to insert content which can then interact with what the produced content is. And I don't quite know how that would happen. So that's one question. So I mean, if you want to
Sure.
take that.
So Sunil, I think the magic that, or rather the way it needs to happen, and is that it is a combination of the remote experience. So basically, your expression, your emojis, your polls, and things like that, which are very simple to do, can be done through the remote, and we've been able to do that. And basically, any interaction where you have to actually type something, so like a comment, for example, or take a selfie and post that on the TV and so on and so forth. All that happens through a very seamless QR code experience between the mobile and the TV. And today, with the COVID, every restaurant, every place, I think everybody is learned how to scan the QR code. So basically, that's how we've tried to do it. And our objective is to make that as simple and seamless as possible. So that
one way, and I'm thinking aloud here, right? One way to do this, if you think of Facebook Live, right? So Facebook Live is, your user-generated content, people are interacting with it all the time. So can you make that Facebook Live experience with produced content and merge those two together? And I think that's sort of the holy grail, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about, the initial web 2.0 and what we're going with web 3.0, and you translate that into video and an immersive experience, isn't that where we are trying to get to?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Sunil. So we are doing a combination of produced content, which is coming in from our partners, as well as a lot of live shows that are actually produced by Glance itself. So we have multiple other units. So we have a platform called Reposo, which is one of the largest creator-led platforms in the country, which are effectively into live commerce and so on and so forth. And then we have a gaming platform as well. So a lot of interesting internal units help kind of produce content, which is, like you said, more interactive. And of course, on the product produced content itself, which is already produced, which comes in from Netflix, Z, and so on and so forth. We're trying to put interactivity on top of that as well, which of course makes that experience go to the next level.
Fabulous. So now we Sunil, you have any more questions?
Go ahead. I'll let others.
So from there,
I have a bunch of questions, but I'll let others go.
So from Boston, we go across to London. And Vijay, just imagine that you are conducting your yoga classes or spiritual, Would you love that? Your disciples to be coming out with emojis and comments and all that? Vijay, you might be on mute. Okay, while we wait for Vijay to come up, we go across to Neeraj. Neeraj, what do you see as, have you seen something like this in Africa, and what do you see as the potential for this kind of a solution in Africa?
Yeah, definitely. See, Africa also, there is a huge potential. It's, if you see the mobile penetration in Africa is almost similar to India. And in some places like Ghana, they have even more than India, 60% of the population. And if you see the interest of an African people, it's more on, betting, fashion. Big Boss is quite popular here. So and even there are a lot of Nollywood stars. So they like being associated with, heroes and role models. So definitely this glance will, fly in Africa once it gets successful. I don't know what's Manish's plan is, but once it gets successful, in India, then definitely they should venture out in Africa. But my question, coming from, because I think two months back I was analyzing the balance sheet of Netflix. So content
Very topical theme.
so yeah, the content, Netflix spend almost $20 billion in content creation. So I was wondering, I know InMobi has a huge investment, as well as Geo is also supporting you. So in content generation terms, how you are coping up with, investment as well as, because growth require investment in content. So
Yeah.
what kind of, maybe, I don't know, you must be spending billions of dollars.
No. So we don't have that much money, though we are not we don't have as deep pockets as a Disney or a Netflix. So our aim, Neeraj, is to actually create content which automatically generates a flywheel. So for us, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create these so-called livepreneurs, so to say, which actually want to come live. They're not the tier one like celebs that are there. Actually, we have some tier one celebs as well. But apart from that, we're trying to create this whole industry where we create this whole Netflix, the way Instagram in its older days did it. Our objective is to create a flywheel for content, and of course we are not our objective is not to get syndicated content, just like Netflix will have hundreds and thousands of movies. We'll have very topical content which will be relevant for today, uh, and basically that content is either created or given by our partners, because we are kind of elevating the experience to a completely different level. So it's not the we've decided not to spend money on content. Rather, interestingly, I don't have a budget for content, uh, in spite of this whole TV experience. But and it's all coming in from partners. It's all coming in from our internal units and so on and so forth. So it's something that we'll do this a little differently.
Wow, wonderful. Manish, one more question. You have one subsidiary, Roposo, I think, which you
Yes.
mentioned,
Yes.
So how that is different from YouTube?
Yeah.
Because sorry, I'm also a YouTuber, so I'm quite interested in to take
No,
the
so
networking and put my content there in your platform.
sure. No, so what we do, Neeraj, on Roposo is actually so initially when we actually acquired Roposo. Actually, Roposo is actually another IIT Delhi startup as well. And when we acquired Roposo, it was a short video platform. What we did was, and we had a large number of creators, we had a large number of users, and after the TikTok ban in India, we were actually number one in terms of the number of users on the platform. So almost about 100 million odd downloads and a large base. But and then of course Snap and Moj, Takatak, and many others kind of came in. And what we realized was that was not the space that we want to be. So now what we've done is we've kind of transformed the whole platform as a celebrity-led a creator platform, where we are embedding live commerce as our whole objective. So entertainment-led commerce is what the platform will stand for, but not for everyone. We choose very select creators who come on the platform and then create content for us. So it's very different now from what it was about 2 years back, or rather I would say 1.5 years back. But yeah, that's and it provides content through all our lock screen, which is almost 200 million lock screens, and hopefully with a large number of TVs as well.
Wow, interesting. Please come to Africa. I'll get you connected with all the Nollywoods and
Absolutely would love to do that.
Lovely. So, Sunil, I've just got a message from Vijay. Vijay is having power cuts in Goa, and therefore he's got dropped off. But Sunil, you want to ask any more questions?
If I can do this. Yeah, it's sort of along the same theme, right, Manish? I'm as I think of sort of the seamless experience, and going back to Pradeep's point of getting back, essentially sort of evolving towards the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
One of the, I think it's one of the seminal products in this space in terms of interactivity. I mean, different content, different format, was the thing called the Nintendo Wii. If you
Yes,
remember
I
that
remember
device,
that.
right?
Yes.
And because it not only the interaction there was physical in some ways, right? And going back to what Bharti was saying earlier about the environment, one of the biggest issues, at least in the Western countries, is none of us get enough exercise, right? We are all
Yes.
sitting on our phones, driving our cars, doing all this stuff. So is there a way we can sort of promote social good of physical interactivity with the, because even with physical interact, even when I go for a walk or, we go jogging or whatever, we all have our phones or our smartwatches, right? So is there a way of user created content, which again, going back to, some produced content like what Peloton might be doing and others that can come together in this kind of a platform?
Yeah. So one of the things that we did, Sunil, is one of the focus categories, so to say, is fitness for us. So of course Vijay is there, and so one of the things that we want to do is that we want to create this fitness very differently from what just a one-way fitness content is. We
Right.
want fitness to be more interactive. We want fitness to say, okay, and one of the clippings in my video was actually about one of the influencers that we had, which actually came live, and he said, okay, today you tell me, what as a user, you tell me what kind of fitness do you want to do, and basically kind of getting people to engage, and then post that, kind of saying, okay, now let me answer some comments, and if you have a fitness video, you can actually click a selfie with me, and so on and so forth. So multiple interactions. Fitness should not be boring, and I think that's what we want to do for in our endeavor to make people more active. Like you said, right? I think the social good is to actually not be called a couch potato while you watch TV. So that's what we want to do.
No, I guess the sort of I'll make this my last question is, and I sort of wanted to get your perspective on how the bandwidth revolution is going to have an impact on what we are doing, right?
Yeah.
So where does how does 5G, where we have equivalent bandwidth to the phone as well as to your smart TV or your watch or whatever, how does that change that experience over time?
Yeah. So basically, I think things are changing rapidly. Today, for a smart TV to be available at home, you required a Wi-Fi connection.
Mhm.
I think now with 5G coming in, with a lot of work that is being done by both Geo, Google, and many others to actually bring out connectivity to homes. I think, and these small, very small devices, which are very like as low as 2,000 rupees or 1,000 rupees, and so on and so forth, you can actually get a connected TV experience. And I think that's what the transformation is, and it's a combination of the bandwidth which people are now able to get, along with all these low cost, very slick devices that can make your TV smart. And truly smart, not the smart TVs
Right.
that we call it today. I believe that they're still dumb. So I think that's what the revolution is. And I think as things move forward with better bandwidth in India, I think everybody, including in the villages, people will have connected TVs. So I won't say smart TVs because that's a device itself, but I'm saying connected TVs because you can just connect a small device and then make your TV smarter.
So I think
Well, Manish,
this.
I'm looking for the brave new world where Pradeep and I will be interacting with our own avatars in a Chitrahar song sequence.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's our next goal.
Love it, love it,
Thank
love
you. Thank you.
it. Folks, it was an
Thank you.
absolutely lovely session today, and thank you so much, Bharti and Manish, for telling us about your journeys as well as the wonderful work which is happening. As well as thank you so much to Sunil, Vijay, and Neeraj for making it more interactive, and to everybody else for joining in today. Well, the next GCC episode is going to be also very, very interesting. But whom do we have over there? We have Dr. Mukund Rajan. Dr. Mukund Rajan is he after IIT Delhi, he went on to do his PhD from Oxford, and then he was with TAS, Tata Administrative Services, and he was in the hot box. He was with Tata Sons as a CXO. He has also been the global sustainability leader for the Tata Group and number of other things. Very, very distinguished gentleman. I am looking forward to that session. And we have somebody who's been in the hot furnace of the Tata Group. On the GCC session 31, we will have somebody who's currently in the hot chamber of Aditya Birla Group. So some very, very interesting sessions coming up. And once again, it was absolutely fabulous. And have lovely morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever it is in your part of the day. Enjoy your morning cup of tea, afternoon lassi or evening glass of wine. And this is Pradeep from Sydney signing off. Bye for now.